Welcome again then to another thrilling instalment of It's Football Not Soccer with the four of us losers. We may or may not have led you astray with some previous waiver ads. We think we've done okay, but we'll cover that towards the end of the show. What we're going to be doing is picking up right from the get-go with what we left off with last week, which is the Stefan Diggs poster child of underperformers. So, we've got Ben to give his opinion on someone that might be Baker Mayfield, maybe. No? Someone different? Don't want to pick on the Browns?
Look happy about that, Ben.
The thrilling start of the Browns.
Yeah.
Baker can't seem to get anything moving at all. Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah, and I mean, if you did draft Baker high, expecting some kind of thrilling offense, you are going to be sitting in a corner crying, because it's not gone that way.
No, it has not.
I personally haven't overly got many shares of Baker, so he's not been forefront in my
Dodge
mind.
that bullet.
Well, I think I've got him in a two QB league, but I've won all my games, so I haven't noticed his bad scoring. So he's sort of gone under the radar.
Wonders, isn't it?
Yeah, you know. Whereas our Dynasty League, I thought, you know what? Going to lock myself into a nice QB, so because it's very difficult to stream in that league. I'll just get Aaron Rodgers. You know, the GOAT. He'll be fine. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm looking at 16 to 20 points a game. That's
Minimum.
fine. Minimum. Yeah, of course.
Easy.
It's bloody, you know, and he's got potential to be top 2. That is what he does. Throws the ball. It's accurate. It's all good. He has bummed 3 weeks in a row. We're looking at around sort of 12 to 13 points, which has cost me dearly, and I thoroughly blame Matt LaFleur. He can do one for all I care.
A couple of good early starts so for him, hasn't he? And you think, first quarter and he's already up to 12 points. Brilliant. But then he just sits on it and that's his final score.
I mean, if he only had 3 plays,
yeah,
he'd be outrageous. When he got that free play, that pass down was beautiful, and you just think, oh, it is Aaron Rodgers. He is here, and then he'll just go nothing. Two drives of 3 downs where he literally passed the ball to the ground. And he wasn't trying to hit anyone. He just gave up on the plays. That's hurt.
Concerning, I would say that one is, isn't it? Really?
I'm bitter. I'm bitter.
We're going to come back to him in a second. Longer than a second. Because we're going to talk about the potential trade value of these players, like whether you want to pick them up, let them go, things like that. So we'll come back to Rodgers because he's kind of. I think he's going to be a polarising kind of a player. Did you have anything, Dan, from the underperformers?
Oh yes, Devontae Adams on the same note as
the
first
first round
Packers.
pick consensus for Devontae Adams, and he has not really delivered on that at this point.
No,
He's
he
looking
had
around
a
the 9-point
reasonable
average.
week 2,
Yeah,
where he broke 10 points. But even full point PPR, he's only broken 10 points once, which for a player who last year in non PPR only went under 10 points once all season, apart from the week 17 game, which is irrelevant against the Lions. Yeah, he's underperforming massively for me. Yeah. Massively.
Well, obviously Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are kind of linked.
Yes,
so,
of course.
the fate of one is linked with the other.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham on the same string.
Yeah.
It is injury for Graham, though.
And the sad thing is they're flaming winning games.
Yeah.
So it's not like
they're not
they're going
needed
to
address it so urgently.
Yeah, it's not like they're going back to the locker room thinking, God damn, we need to sort this out. Ben's fantasy football team suffering from this poor play from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers has shown a few frustrations though on the sideline, falling out with LaFleur and stuff.
Is there a more miserable 3-0 quarterback than Aaron Rodgers? Like, God damn it, I'm winning, but I'm not winning how I want to win.
Is it just that no one can manage Rodgers? Is there any head coach who could, other than Belichick, who could really get him under reins?
It's going to be difficult, really, to come in at this point and try and tell Rodgers what to do.
Yeah,
because
he's well into his career. 12th
That's right.
year, probably. I'm not sure. I'm guessing with that, but he
I think
knows
he came in
the
about
game.
2010.
No,
Earlier than that?
Yeah, he was 7.
Well, he had a couple of years before he played, didn't he? So he's he was bench warmer for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah,
then
he was
he's
playing
playing
under
so
Favre. Yeah.
So it's a bit deceptive. He's not got
Either
quite
way,
as many
though,
seasons. He wasn't
backup
a
or
starter.
not, you get an understanding of the game. He's certainly been in it a long time.
I think the issue is they are running quite a dull offense. They're not scheming to get people open. They're not playing many intricate plays where there's opportunities for Rodgers to launch the ball down. They're playing.
Goes back to 2005 for Rodgers.
Yeah, he had a few games in it, but yeah, it didn't do much. Sorry, man.
They're playing good football, and
I think their
winning
defence
games.
are as well.
Yeah.
And that's something that we haven't particularly seen from them before. Where this year their defence, even though it's all new players, rookie picks, they've managed to build a defence that actually works, which means they're less reliant on their offence.
Yeah.
They don't need to score on every drive because they can hold.
If you were a bit cynical, would you think maybe that LaFleur's focusing on the defence and improving the defence so he has more control over the team than just whatever Rodgers' whims are?
Yeah, I think that's a mistake for the club to have put so much into the guy as well.
Yeah, just leave him to it. You're not going to coach him. Concentrate on what you can affect.
Yeah.
So sort your defence out. Stay on top of your defence. You can fall out publicly with Rodgers while you're winning games. So you control what you can in the defence.
I think it's
Allow him that freedom that he strives for and is used to, which he's used to win games.
Yeah, but is LaFleur maybe thinking, no, I've just got to win games. I don't have to satisfy my quarterback.
Yeah, that is your job as a coach, isn't it, really?
Win games.
But they definitely take a downturn, the Packers, of late years, haven't
Yeah,
they?
they have. Yeah, they've not been reaching where they
Right,
everyone
really.
had pegged them at.
Not
reaching.
contending for the division, for the
It is
hard win.
that is the toughest division though, because the Bears are 2-1 and last place in that division, the NFC North.
Yeah,
The Bears, the Vikings,
The Lions are
the
crazy
Packers,
start.
and the Lions. The Lions have looked good though.
Yeah, they're
They've not
looking
looked
like
bad
a decent
at all.
team.
All three. I mean, the Lions is probably the weaker team of the four.
do you think?
Yeah, Bears, Vikings, and Packers.
Yeah.
My
I'm
opinion.
probably there with you.
Historically, for sure, because
Yeah.
it's
No,
the
this year.
Lions. Oh yeah, but it's the Lions.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this year because
Wicked boys.
it's it is a tough.
Does that bring us on
Division.
Nick, to your underperformer?
My underperformer. I've got one.
I don't know.
No, I'm just injury ridden.
Oh,
My players haven't had a chance to underperform.
Because Hawkinson, I think, will get mentioned at some point later
Yes.
in the show. Then we'll come back to him too.
Yeah. For Dynasty, it's a different kind of underperform, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not quite looking for it right now all the time. Yeah, no, it's been injury for me. So Tyreek Hill's underperformed.
For sure, yeah.
Devontae Adams has outscored him. It's got to make you feel pretty bad. Yeah, no, it's the closest to an underperformer is probably the running backs from the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
Damian Williams, he's got an injury now, but before the injury, he wasn't lighting things up like the pick that people were thinking he might be.
Yeah.
Certainly not a lead back. But running backs as a whole are underperforming.
Yeah,
I think
there's
that is
possible.
A handful right at the
McCaffrey
top.
and-
McCaffrey,
and-
Cook, Eckler,
well, nobody
Ingram.
was drafting Eckler as a first, second round
It-
pick. Then really, it's an over.
Exactly.
achievement.
But
But you're
for the
listing
most
Zeke,
part-
aren't you, as well, Ben? Not doing
Zeke
enough.
is captain average at the moment. I mean, I'm hoping he's going to get back to the 2-3 touchdown games. That would be lovely. He got 100 yards. That great, fantastic. But I didn't draft him to get 15, 14 points. He's going to have to step his game up. But I think Wig's spot on. I think across the board, running backs.
are-
Yeah.
But you'll find going later into the year when the weather's changed,
Yep.
that's when the running backs sort of push forward. It's very pass heavy at the moment, and that's because everybody can.
More
Because the weather, it's fair weather.
Teams are less tired.
Yeah.
The teams are less
But
tired.
on top of
it's
that, it
so-
is more pass heavy this year than it has been.
and it's going.
And that is a detriment to running backs
Yeah,
because
of course.
obviously there's
Yeah.
less touches with it.
Yeah.
But even passing to running backs, the Rams I saw today is something atrocious like 7%.
No.
And last year they were leading the league. Now they're rooted to the bottom. And Gurley is probably one of the biggest underperformers. We all thought he wouldn't be fit, and that's why he wouldn't be a high draft pick. If you said he was going to be fit and playing week 1 and he'll play every single game, you'd be taking him first pick.
Now, I noticed his snap count has probably come down because his total number of carries is only 15 per game average. And it's stayed pretty
Yeah.
close to that as well. It's been 14, 16, 14.
Yeah.
So clearly deliberately limiting the number of carries that he's getting because he would have seen more than that over the previous year
Definitely.
by this point. So Todd Gurley, underperformer.
Yep.
Along with many other running backs. Some catastrophically bad. Devonta Freeman, very far down the list. Sony Michel, a high-rated player. I mean, he isn't even in the top 32 running backs.
He's played very badly. He's not playing well at all. He's been masked by a couple of touchdowns that he's got.
Yeah.
Without those, oh my God, he'd be...
Even further.
Yeah.
I saw he'd not broke a tackle in the first 2 weeks. I don't know if he did last week with it. Not to my memory. I'm not sure if that was offensive line work. I'd have to look. But still, going 2 full weeks and not breaking a tackle as a running back, that's enough to land you at the bottom of the depth chart. Jordan Howard, we know he's part of the committee, but even as part of a committee, he's just not been used.
Yeah.
Like he's really underperforming from where people were looking at him. He was middle round pick, but right now you shouldn't have drafted him good.
Chris Carson.
Yeah, Carson.
Who's he going to give the ball to next? That's the question. Just butterfingers, and they won't put up with it long. Connor had a fumble, and he's not.
He's
I mean,
not actually scored very well so
No,
far.
he's
Connor,
another
has
terribly.
he? Is he averaging about 8 per week now?
Yeah,
Something like that.
something like
Well,
that.
we've got like a whole raft of running backs who are the ones that are doing better that are all underperforming like that as well. So Mixon's in the same boat.
Well, let's get down to it with this. What we're looking at is some players that we would consider trading for that are currently underperforming.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, OJ Howard, I am currently in the process of trying to trade for because I think his stock will rise through the season. But I'm tempering that trade with the idea that it might not, and it might not improve under Bruce Arians in the future. So I'm trying to get a value trade. I'm trying to trade for what he's worth now, as opposed to what he might be worth in the future.
Yeah.
I think there's better options out there.
There might well be. There might well be. But he's a player that's currently underperforming that I'm interested in making a trade with. And from the rest of your faces when I brought this up, everyone else is like, nah, I wouldn't. I'd just leave him there. Is that fair then?
For me, it is.
Okay. Well, let's try and do this with the others then. So let's say poster child Diggs. Would you be interested in making a trade for Diggs at this point?
No.
Yeah, I'd take Diggs.
You trade for him.
Yeah, I would. Because
Okay.
he can't be any worse with it.
That's true. He seems to have reached his floor.
He's got to be at the bottom of his value that he's going to be to.
Yeah, so you get a good price for
That's
him.
it, yeah. But you're going to be reluctant giving anything up for him right now.
That's
Yeah.
right. But people might be
But
able to
you-
accept less at this point
So
as they've
what
seen
sort
some
of
terrible games.
ballpark player would you be looking to
Yeah,
trade
it's
for?
it.
Djax? Would you trade away Djax for Diggs?
Yeah, I'd be quite happy with that,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, just on the upside of Diggs in the long run with it.
Yeah.
But he's someone who you'd be picking up for free anyway a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I
but
think you
it's,
probably at the moment, for me, I'd be looking to ship one of them wide receivers who started good, but you haven't got much faith in. So you're looking down. Maybe one of the
Godwin?
Chiefs wide receivers. No, I think Godwin's a strange one. this
Sammy
year.
Watkins.
If someone would take Godwin off me, I'd be dead happy for a Diggs trade with it. But I think even a Diggs owner at this point to be like, Mike Evans might just be the man there. No, it's a difficult one. But no, I'd be quite happy to trade like someone who's already shining a bit, who I think the shine might rub off next couple of weeks.
Well, that's why I suggest Sammy Watkins. I think he's a player that can drop
Sammy
off very
Watkins,
badly.
DeMarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, because you're not going to know which chief receiver is going to be getting it until Hill's
Yeah.
back.
So some of us would look to trade for Diggs. Would you, Dan?
I picked him up, actually. Somebody dropped him.
Yeah.
That's where it starts with, yeah.
Would I trade for him? It would depend very much on my roster. That's the only thing I'd go for. If I've got,
Will you consider it?
I would consider it. Yeah. I don't know how rich I'd be willing to go for him though.
So you don't think his season improves terribly then?
Does, but he's one of those players that can be quite hot and cold.
Yeah, a big week, misses for two, huge week.
and then
Yeah.
2 low weeks.
So what-
And especially with Cousins' performances so far. It's been...
So, Wig, would you trade Cooper Kupp for Stephon Diggs?
Oh, I didn't buy much in the way of any Ram shares for the wide receivers this year. So
Okay.
because Cooper Kupp had a good week,
Yep.
but it's going to be it's the Chiefs situation as well. So I probably would.
So you probably would trade him.
No, I feel bad about that. No, I think that's an awkward one.
I wouldn't accept.
Okay.
No, I would.
Kupp.
I would snap somebody's hand off if they offered me Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I would too.
It's
For
just
Stephon Diggs.
For
yeah.
Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
It's just that if
100%.
Diggs can find last season's form with it, while he is a bit up and down, he does have more of a ceiling and a bit more of a floor than any of the Rams receivers, who are all capable of going big, but it could be 2-3 weeks apart where they do nothing.
Is that on the basis that there's a
too many mouths?
Yeah,
too many
for the
mouths.
Rams.
And they're all good at the Rams, is the
Yeah.
problem. Cup, Woods, Cook, how'd you pick between them? They all do well.
Yeah, well, most of them eat most of the time last season, but I don't know if that's the case this season.
I don't feel like it is. Their
striking.
offensive line at the Rams has seemed shaky and
That's
Goff
it.
struggled with it. Which
Whereas
is-
Diggs is kind of a wide receiver one when Cousins finds his form. As much as Thielen got the ball a lot last year,
Yeah.
it's Diggs who's taking the coverage off it. It's Diggs who they cover and Thielen who gets open. And that's a lot of respect for Diggs.
yeah, but fantasy though, what's that?
Oh,
gonna get you?
well, if he's underperforming and teams start sleeping on him a bit and leave him open, then you might see a resurgence. But it all relies on good old Kirk. And Captain Kirk has been nothing but disappointing this
yeah,
season.
really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad so far.
So,
I wouldn't say he was that bad, but either way, we're not all super hot on Diggs. Devontae Adams is on our list of underperformers. Okay,
Yeah.
you own him at this point.
Yes.
Would you be looking to shop him?
No.
Okay.
Unless, it'd have to be a good offer for me to shop him.
you're too invested now.
Well, no, I just think can't get
This
worse.
is this
than
is the
this.
lowest point of his season, isn't it?
After last year's performances, he was phenomenal. There's no way he can't be reaching those heights again.
Would
I
you
don't-
take Tyler Lockett for him?
No.
No? But Tyler Lockett's outscoring him consistently.
It's 3 weeks.
Tyler Lockett in one game scored as much as Devontae Adams has in his current season.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was against the Cardinals, who the Packers haven't faced yet.
He's playing the Falcons, is he?
Oh, the Falcon.
No, this week. Who's
Eagles.
Eagles. Okay, so there's a very
So
good
I'm
chance.
expecting a good performance tomorrow night
Yeah,
for Adams.
yeah. I think that'll be a good test.
Yeah.
If it does well there,
Yeah.
you know, he could go on for better things.
Yeah.
They've got that.
I think
that
Darby's injured as well.
Yeah.
So I think.
Okay, so for anyone out there that's thinking that Devontae Adams, you might be able to get a trade going, our consensus is it probably won't happen because you're going to need to spend real money to get hold of the guy, so you're not going to get a value trade out of this.
Yeah.
But you could target him on other people's teams. They might have had enough.
Yeah, some people will.
Yeah.
Some people will have had enough. And
I don't
a
think he's-
new offence, and it's not
I don't
as
think
it
he's done
was.
badly enough to make you feel like you've lost your value in Adams. And I think most people holding him will still think he's good for the
He
season.
was early mid-round,
Yeah.
first pick.
Yeah.
Carry something with it through the season for the people who
It's
spend
very
the
hard
first
to
round
let
on
go
him.
of your first round pick, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, really hard, yeah. I mean, how long did you hold on to yours? The whole season? Yeah.
Well, he was undroppable, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah, we've also got a couple of others with it that we could touch on quickly. One for myself is Damian Williams. I'd love to shop him. No one's going to buy him, are they?
Well, they
He's
would.
just not
They
performing.
would, but
I think
it wouldn't be
he's-
anything worthwhile.
He's
for
probably
you.
just going to end up rolling on waivers by next week if he's not putting anything together. Because
He's injured still.
he took an injury with it. He's probably back this week with it.
Yeah.
But the fact it's a committee with it.
He was
they're
replaced
using
by
it for
another
the-
D. Williams.
Yeah, very interchangeably. No, it'll be a case of whoever it is that plays well for a bit will probably end up being the lead back with it. But Damian Williams didn't look particularly great. I mean, he looked all right, but Shady looked better.
So you would be shopping Damian Williams at that
I'd
point.
get rid of him right now if anyone had taken him off my hands.
Yeah. So let's say anyone of us are Devonta Freeman owners.
I would get rid of him as soon as anybody put any kind of an offer in for him.
Similar kind of thing with it, isn't
Because you
it?
honestly believe that his season's getting no better at this point.
It's not. He had 92% of the snaps Sunday just gone and barely put up 11 points. For a running back to be doing that, who has had a huge ceiling before, their offensive line's bad. He's passing a lot because they haven't got a defense, so they're behind a lot of the game,
Yeah.
so they're not running. So, no, for me, sell.
Yeah. And the wide
Devontae
receivers are
Freeman,
dependable.
Sell, and I would sell him for
Pence on the dollar.
yeah,
That's it.
penny.
Yeah, he's also been beat up a lot as Freeman. He's had a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
injuries with it and nigglers, so it might be the time is kind of catching up with him.
The other reason
He's not even old though, but he has been banged up quite a bit.
The other reason he got so many of the snap count was Ito Smith
Yeah,
went
he's
out with a
out.
concussion. So
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
somebody else is going to be brought in to take away those snaps anyway, so he's not going to be getting.
Is this
that
when
kind of-
someone like Kadri Ollison steps forward into these kind of things?
Yeah,
It
Could
is
that-
where running backs emerge mid-season,
It
isn't
is,
it?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's about,
something
you know-
to keep an eye on Freeman, on the Chiefs. One of them will end up being a workhorse with Andy Reid. There always is. Yeah, you've got to really right now be keeping your eye on the running back game.
So Freeman is a sell option. We don't really want to buy into him. We think his season's only going to trend the same way. Or down.
Here's a tougher one for you to decide whether to sell or not. With the recent Melvin Gordon news,
Yeah,
do you sell with Eckler?
I have. I've been thinking about that, being an Eckler owner and leave with it.
It's tough. Do you shop him now and get the best value you can for him, or do you wait to see what production Gordon is he going to come back into the same role he had last year? In which case you might as well get rid of Eckler in case of unless there's an injury to Gordon.
How much has he upset the Chargers?
Yeah, that's the interesting question.
Well,
Are they
I
going to
don't-
welcome him
he's-
back like that?
Well, they want him to play.
But with Eckler like that, they wanted him to play earlier on in the season when Eckler's one
In
of
the form that
best
he's in,
running
why
backs.
take him out of the
Yeah.
game? Yeah.
You know,
So
and why
same.
should we put you in a shop window?
Maybe.
That's the big no. Why should we
Gordon.
put Melvin Gordon in
Yeah.
a shop window? You know, all they're doing is making it more expensive if they play him.
But he's
Well, they could franchise tag him to then trade him.
Yeah, but
I imagine they would do.
Of course, you're going to try and get value for such a
But is he
elite
not?
level player.
Is he not due a contract renewal at the end of the year? That's what the hesitation is. So
Yes, because he's not due for it this year. I think.
So
I think he wants it
yeah.
early.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he
yeah.
can't. But obviously, it means he can go on to be franchise tagged and things like that, which is the whole Bell situation again.
yeah.
And he's shown that he'll hold out, but ultimately, he clearly wants to come back and play.
Yeah.
Are they winning football games?
Weirdly, no.
No.
And it's shocking, isn't it?
So, are they going to think, oh, we don't like him, we're not going to play him because we're doing so well? Again, they care very little about our fantasy scores. So we're not like, oh, well, Eckler's doing ace. They're going to think we want to win. Let's throw Melvin out there.
I know it's Rivers that needs to go then.
Wow.
No, he's cost them though. It's not been Eckler's fault.
The game against the Lions was a referee catastrophe of flags on all their scoring plays and things like that, and then missed kicks, which is something the Chargers have constantly had a problem with, which, you know, that defined the game again for the Chargers. So I don't think it's all could be all put on Melvin Gordon. You know, Eckler's been productive with the work that he's had, and, you know, should continue to be so. But
It feels like when I watch the Chargers this year, when the game ends, it ends with Rivers trailing, trying to do something, failing at it, and looking really disgusted with everyone.
yes,
That
He's
seems
just
to be the theme.
He's always been.
Oh, he's
very
a temper
competitive,
tantrum,
though.
yeah.
but it's him who's doing it most of the time. It's him
Yeah,
who's missing the
he's
simple
competitive.
throw to
He
keep
really,
it going.
He really wants to win those games. He's got a
Yeah.
real good streak in him for that, and coaches really like to see that in players.
I do, but when it's him who's costing them like that, it seems to be it's him. It's not someone who's, you know, dropping a simple pass with it. It's him who's not making the
It's a
simple pass
combination
available.
of things, though, isn't it? It's not just that last play; it's the 60 minutes that they've been playing for.
Yeah.
Well, let's draw it back
Anyway.
to topic.
Yeah.
We've got Melvin Gordon in front of us. You own him? Do you sell him?
Melvin Gordon, now he's coming back.
Now that
No.
people think he's coming back again, do you try and get full value on a trade? Thinking Melvin Gordon has been rumoured to come back into the league,
Yeah.
right? He's going to be playing within the next couple of weeks, but before he becomes a proven quantity, do you try and sell him as though he's going to be the Melvin
It's who
Gordon we
you're going to
expected?
get. So, you sold him for Cook,
Yes.
and I would do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Christ. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you had to put more in.
It wasn't as straight as that.
Ultimately, though, that is what it was. In our Dynasty League, that's pretty much one part of the trade, and the other part of the trade was some other stuff.
Yeah.
But it was Melvin for Dalvin.
Yeah. So because you're getting
A
one
player that plays now
Yeah,
for good points.
and
I
you
won
know,
on that trade.
you know that's a top RB.
Yes.
Whereas we talked about there's a lot of RBs that are nowhere near hitting that level.
Yeah.
So if you can find someone who's willing to give you that, then yes. If not, hold on, and maybe Melvin comes out and gives you that. There's a reason he was going first round. People weren't drafting him there because he was terrible.
Right.
You know, he's an elite.
He produces.
Yeah.
So we've got Melvin Gordon at this point. Are we looking to shop him?
You could do for the right price, but
Oh, yeah.
it'd be...
So we are shopping for a price. We would shop him, but we're looking for value.
You want to shop him to Barkley owners is what you want to do, isn't it?
Ooh.
That times up, obviously.
that's the
I
tricky
think that
one, isn't
depends
it?
how you're sitting win-wise.
Yeah. If you can
If
afford
you're
it.
2-1,
Yeah.
you feel a bit more there. You
yeah.
know, I'm 1-2. I'd be a little bit. Who's coming back first? Because I friggin' need him.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. If you need the wins now,
Yeah.
you keep hold of your Gordon.
Yeah.
But if you're already comfy with your running backs and he's now a welcome addition, you could shop him quite easily for pretty much any of the wide receivers. I don't think there's anyone that really wide receiver wise that isn't replaceable at this point. No one's standing out as.
Keenan Allen.
Julio
But then
Jones.
his injuries is the problem. Julio maybe, yeah. Keenan Allen's got the problem with a lot of these players now. They look fantastic while they're playing, but they looked fantastic before they got injured last time and the time before.
So let's say that someone else has got Melvin Gordon at this point. Are we looking to try and trade for him?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I think everyone wants a bit of it.
Yeah, so we'd all be happy to trade in for that. Okay, and do we trade as though he's going to come back and play at his elite level? We're trying to get him cheaper than that.
Would you go Mixon Gordon? Because Mixon's been underperforming.
Yeah, I'd make that.
That's
trade.
a good trade, isn't it?
You
So
would
we
go
would give
Mixon
up our
Gordon.
Mixon to try and get hold of someone's Gordon. If you had Gordon, would you accept Mixon for it?
No, you'd want more.
Right, that's the tricky part, isn't it?
I am just greedy. I am.
Okay, so another running back that's underperforming, Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Still drafted high despite the knee niggle that we were all aware of. And at the moment, he just hasn't really delivered on anything that we would have expected from Gurley. So drafted him in, let's say, the 3rd round, which was typically where he was going. Have we got a 3rd round return at this point? Because I honestly say that I am comfortable with where he's at now. If I was a Todd Gurley owner, I would not be looking to shop him. You know, he's not lit up the world, but also he's not crapped out in any game.
I think you'd be reliant on his reputation to get a good value for him.
And that's
I
what we'd
hope
be
that
going
he
for.
bounces back. But I'm.
In my mind, he's averaging about 10 points a game in the half PPR formats we've been playing
Might
in.
be around there.
If you tell me it's something different, I
sure.
might...
It's just not been looking good. He just hasn't had that breakout.
And the goal line stuff has gone to Malcolm Brown, where he's been able to.
That's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not getting that touchdown upside as often is hurtful.
Well, they look more dangerous when Brown's out there, when Gurley's out there, which is strange.
Malcolm Brown has got some really impressive statistics.
Yeah. And for an offense which hasn't really been firing yet,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Goff is doing his Goff thing. He's like just petering about,
He's not been
Just-
great, has he?
winning a game.
Have you
know.
got his stats there?
It's just his last week. I mean, before last week, he was very much in the same boat as a lot of running backs. Gurley, this is, where he was 10, 15 points with it. Last week, 4 points.
Yeah.
That Browns defense?
Yeah. But the,
Stellar, yes.
Oh, I mean, obviously, he didn't win them a game.
biggest difference is, like we were talking about, the Rams aren't throwing the ball to the running backs. He's had 1 reception last game, 1 reception in the first game, and he got 4 receptions in game 2 with it. And that was against New Orleans with it.
So
where
they
it
need
was
to be
needed.
scoring.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we own Gurley. Are we looking to trade?
I would.
You would trade Gurley?
I would trade Gurley.
Yeah?
It's who's
He's not the Gurley of yesteryear. He's
for it.
But you'd be looking to shop him. That's the
Yeah.
important thing.
I
I'd go
tried to
Michael
buy.
Thomas for Gurley.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd take
Really?
Michael Thomas.
You'd get what you'd get, Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would give you that trade.
No,
Yeah, I
probably
feel like-
not. But that's what I'd be happy with. That. People are looking to get rid of Michael Thomas. Now Breeze is down.
Yeah.
He's not going to be as productive as last year.
Oh no. But he's had 1 game with Bridgewater. They're using him just the same. He's not going to be as productive, but he's certainly still going to be a viable wide receiver.
Sure.
Gurley with the injuries, with the lack of performance really for Gurley, because 10, 15 points is good, but Gurley would get that every quarter for a full game sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, he was that good, and he's not this year. I tried to buy Gurley just before the game this week with it. So it might be interesting to revisit that, but I was told that the price for Gurley is price for last year's Gurley. And that I was like, I'm just not offering anything then, forget that. Let's just not talk, because Gurley's not last year's Gurley.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
And I think that's the take-home message here is that the people that own Gurley at this point are thinking, okay, I took a punt, I've probably not got what I was hoping to get out of him. But the people that are looking to get Gurley are thinking, well, I see that there are going to be games where he is going to be last year's Gurley. He is going to have those breaking runs that score mad points, and he will get the touchdown look from time to time, and that might be an interesting speculative pickup. Would you be looking to pick up Todd Gurley, Ben?
Yes.
Okay, and that's all we really need to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a player that's currently underperforming, and we think he can do better, and we'd look to buy in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wig wants to buy in.
Yeah, I'd be happy to buy in, just I am not paying last year's price.
This is right. We're talking about prices.
I don't even know how that could be considered.
But if we
unfair.
own Todd
It's
Gurley,
unreasonable.
would we be receptive to offers, for him at, our range or another?
Would
right?
you accept Diggs for him?
Ooh. No, not right now.
You need to see a decent game out of Diggs.
In one good
wouldn't you?
game out of Diggs.
Yeah.
And then you'll want to
But
think
I
about it.
would be tempted with that with this.
Mm.
Because these are players that perhaps went around the same sort of time where
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, because of his knee injury, was looking at the
Yeah.
back end of the second, start of the third, and Diggs probably midway through the third, creeping up towards the second.
Look
Maybe
at all the
more
third
forward.
round. Are we looking? Detroit Lions running back
Carry
carry
on.
on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Carry on for
Is
Todd.
outperforming him.
Yeah.
Mac is outperforming him.
Oh, Mac, that'd be an interesting trade, wouldn't it?
I don't think nobody would
No,
take it.
you keep
Nobody
hold of
would
Mac.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was in a little batch of running backs who are now taking
well.
a step forward,
Yeah.
and he is
Not.
yeah.
He's been left behind by virtue of not going forwards.
He's more like Carson territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously he's doing a bit better than Carson, but potentially Carson could have a much bigger workload than he. So
Yeah.
you're then gambling, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're playing that game of who's going to come out better, because at the moment you don't particularly want either.
Well, this is the message that we're sending out to our listeners all around the world. We found out we've got quite a few different pockets of international
Yeah.
listeners out there.
Yeah.
Props to you all. Thanks for joining in for the show.
Yeah.
So what we're finding is that people are willing to shop these players, because I've investigated trades for some of these players, and people are willing to move them at this point because they are underperforming, and it's about negotiating what level of trade we need to get out of it. Some people rate them higher than others, but what you need to know is these players are available in your league, and if you pick them up now, it might be that they go on to have a very strong season. There are some that we don't consider to be going on to better things. Some names that had been bandied around, which we've covered, but then there are others. So who else made the cut? Jordan Howard underperforms. Do we buy or sell?
I don't want any part of anything with the
No,
Eagles
I've
running
not
backs.
wanted any part of
It's
any
all
Eagles
sell
back-
for that guy. He's in the
backfield.
committee.
But then we were talking about it like the Ravens had a committee that would scare everyone off using their running backs. Mark
I've
Ingram.
always fancied Mark Ingram though, because he is just such a good running back.
Yeah.
Having said that though, I've seen some very good runs from Gus Edwards.
Yeah, I was thinking that as we were thinking it. If Gus Edwards hadn't had them pulled back on him, so a couple
Yeah,
of his
some
big
good-
runs
Good
were pulled
runs.
back as well.
Yeah.
His yards per carry would be eclipsing Mark Ingram's right now. But no, I don't want to be buying anything to do with Howard with it. Did we?
Well, we can come back to the QBs now. We've got into this situation where Rodgers is only doing as much as he needs to do to win a game, and he doesn't want to ball out and go crazy. Baker's not doing enough to win a game.
Yeah.
Are these players that we look to trade for if we don't have them? Are they players we look to get rid of if we do have them? What do you think? Because QB typically isn't relevant, right? So when playing a normal type of scoring league,
You can normally stream
Yeah, you
a
can find
replacement
another QB.
or- yeah.
but we're talking about this, and our perspective is that we've got a super flex league where we've got two QBs being used, which makes them a lot more of a commodity, and we've got a dynasty league that's very deep, which means all the QBs are owned.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't just stream up another QB. So our quarterback pick is more relevant, perhaps, than it would be for normal leagues. Now, if I had Rodgers at this point, I would probably be looking to shop him.
I've got Rodgers at this point. I'm looking to shop him.
Ben and I also have Rodgers, and yours is in the Dynasty League though, isn't it? So
It is. It is. It's
that's a
tough
tougher
one.
decision.
It's very difficult because he's got potential.
And I think that's the value
I
of his
wouldn't
trade,
even-
isn't
I
it? You'd be
wouldn't
trading
even-
him away at this point with other people knowing what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And that might in their minds, make them be more willing to trade something better for him.
Because we're sitting here saying Devontae Adams is someone you'd hold on to. He's gonna come good. He's gonna be, we could see that number 1 pick value. If he sees that, Rodgers gets better.
Yeah.
The two are interlinked, so you can't really say one without the other.
I'm sure that Deshaun Kaiser can come in and fill it adequately for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, at this stage, I don't know if it'd be a huge difference, which is
That's the problem, isn't it?
sad. And I think this is game plan in to win games, but also they haven't necessarily been pushed.
That's right.
They haven't.
He's only doing
They've gone ahead early and they've just sort of ground out the result, it seems.
It's been cruise control.
It was a grind with the Bears.
Oh, the Bears game was terrible.
I mean, to be fair,
In hindsight, they did very well against the Bears because the Bears' defence has been really
in Rodgers'
good.
defence here, he's gone up against, who did they play this week? The Bears, the Broncos and the Vikings. All of a sudden, those poor performances don't seem that bad because that's 3 very stout defences.
Wow.
Broncos not so much. But
that just throws more confusion into it, doesn't it? The fact that against the 2 of the better defences in the league, particularly the Bears, he managed to do enough to win the game.
yeah, but
Then against the Broncos, he did just enough to win the game.
Well,
the Broncos have got a very good pass rush still, and that's
On paper,
the
yeah,
problem.
Zero
they're
sacks.
good with it, yeah.
they've got 20.
Yeah, but the pressure and stuff, they know that Von Miller's coming and they need to get rid of the ball quick.
Yeah.
You weren't getting sacks on Rodgers either because if the play wasn't there, he was literally just throwing it away.
Yeah.
He wasn't giving him the
That's
chance.
true. Yeah.
And they also put 27 points against them to 16, so it was a very cruisy game.
It's
So
how they've done it as well. Aaron Rodgers has been used a lot.
Eagles, Cowboys, next 2 games. That's going to show what we've got.
Although the Cowboys are a
Cowboys-
good defence as
Yeah,
well.
but they were great offense as well.
Yeah, so he's going to need
To actually play.
He hasn't played against a good offense.
So
So that's what we should be focusing on. More
So
than
is
a
this
good
the point then
defense.
that you trade for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
This is
'cause-
where you initiate.
yeah.
So before he proves himself and you're reminded maybe how good Aaron Rodgers is, you try and get your
Although-
trade in now.
Although again, I will say he's in the NFC North, so he's got to play the Vikings and the Bears again.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, he does.
So the next couple of games are going to sort of really tell
He's
where they're at.
a difficult one with it. I'm definitely looking to shop him out. I mean,
Sure.
it's
You
the
get a good offer
Superflex
for
league.
him, yeah.
I went deep on quarterbacks. I'm not too reliant on him. I think someone else is probably going to be needing a quarterback. I'd rather
Well,
wait
you
until he
went
has a
deep
good
on
week.
quarterbacks for that purpose.
I did,
Yeah,
but I'd
so-
love just to get it in now. While we're on the topic, you should have spared yourself these headaches. This shouldn't be an issue.
And take him
You should
out.
have taken him home
Shut up.
and solved your problem.
Oh,
He'll regress. He won't be as good.
No,
Oh, he
Baker
can't do that
Mayfield.
again.
Baker Mayfield presents a more difficult conundrum, I think, because he is going to be the face of the Browns franchise for a little while longer. Now, if you're a dynasty owner, Baker Mayfield was quite a hot property coming into this season.
Yeah,
And
I was high on him.
he would have been drafted very early doors. Now, that's a player with potential value, and this is kind of a low point to try and acquire him at, where someone might have gone a little bit soft on him and thought, you know what, maybe this guy isn't the face of the franchise in the coming seasons. Maybe he'll go like all the other Browns quarterbacks did, and he'll be someone else's backup next
Back
year.
up to Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. So is this a time that we try and pick up Baker, thinking that he is a better player than he's shown so far?
I wouldn't touch him this year. If you're playing in a dynasty league, maybe, because they'll need to improve their offensive line, which is another problem for them.
grab him in Dynasty, drop him in.
In anything else,
Yeah,
redraft.
anything
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
he's just
overhyped so far.
towards the end of the season. It might start changing. He might have some.
Yeah,
You know,
but by then
things can
everyone's
develop.
dropped him and you can pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the moment,
No, don't touch him.
they haven't performed as a unit. It doesn't matter how accurate he is,
So we
because
are-
he's under pressure too often.
So we are not trying to trade for him in any normal
No,
leagues.
I wouldn't.
In Dynasty, we'd start to
Maybe-
think about it, but we're not.
yeah.
We're not rushing for moving on this guy. Now, the good news at the quarterback situation is that because of some injuries and things like that, quarterbacks on the waiver are looking very tasty,
Yeah, there's.
and not just because of Gardner's porno mustache. Yeah, it seems to have emerged as a legitimate player at this point.
Yeah.
So covering him at any length doesn't seem real worthwhile. You know, he is
We'll
just good enough. He's a
Yeah.
starter.
He's done about 17 points on average.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy who you feel comfy streaming quarterbacks because there's always someone of
Yeah,
his kind of ilk.
he's not a top half though. I wouldn't.
Worst
I
case
wouldn't-
scenario, if he was streaming and you've got to put Gardner Minshew in, you know he's not going to shit the bed.
Do you
Mind you
though?
saying that though, Case Keenum, he had a dreadful game week
Still
3,
did all right, yeah.
but he's on pace for 5,000 yards this year.
Yeah, doing it right.
You've got to remember that no one had tape on Gardner, so no one's playing to his weaknesses. No one's seeing how they're fitting in.
Doesn't have any weaknesses. He's got an invincible mustache.
But let's see. Let's give him a couple of weeks.
So you're a bit less sceptical with him. You've not been won over by the moustache.
I just don't know what that Jags offense is going to
I
put
feel
up.
like we might have come to him too quickly after Baker and Ben's a little jaded on this one. Should we move on to Jacoby Brissett, who we saw before the start of the season? We were told by Luck that Brissett was going to be taking over.
And he has had a year in that.
He's
team
done it before
in
with it.
2017.
But he's looking all right,
Yeah.
He is a serviceable replacement QB on your fantasy lineup.
Yeah.
He will not crap out as often as you might expect, and he might have games where
They've
he
got a good
goes
offense.
over 20 by enough to make
Yeah.
you go, oh, that guy was all right.
And a good offensive line that's given him
Yes.
plenty of protection that we spoke about before with it. But he's benefiting from that he didn't before.
No.
The year before when he was playing,
So
he didn't
this
have that.
week,
like
Jacoby
no-
Brissett plays the Raiders.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're
Big week
streaming,
for him.
if you're streaming, that's one you've got to consider.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame if Hilton's out.
Yeah.
That's the worry there. If he's a lot more playable when Hilton.
Though Pascal played well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't not play him against the Raiders. I am playing him in our QB league, so it's not like I'm. But if
No.
Hilton's playing as well, I mean,
Yeah, you're a bit more favourable, aren't you?
Why not?
Certainly.
So
it's cash in.
should we jump from a high to a low and go from Brissett to someone who's in a terrible situation that just goes from worse to worse
Josh
to
Rosen.
worse? Don't even need to say it.
Yeah.
Poor Josh Rosen.
Boy.
Has anyone had a worse introduction to football than Rosen?
Nate Peterman.
Oh, he was stuck at a real bad team. I mean, Rosen's just at potentially the most historically bad team that isn't
Yes.
quite there
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
I mean, it's odd, isn't it? The situation he's in. Because if he was their actual QB, if they were thinking, no, we're going to build around this guy, we're going to have a load of draft picks, we're going to give him a line, we're going to give him weapons. But he sat there thinking, I've got to play this out, and then they're going to get all this stuff for Tua. And I'm going to go back to the locker room and start warming
I
the
don't think
bench.
they want to. I mean, they traded a second-round pick for Josh Rosen.
Shipped Rosen to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for the second round pick, 62nd overall, which they used to pick up Andy Isabella. So basically, they traded him for Andy Isabella because Rosen's not a terrible quarterback.
No, but they got Kyler Murray.
They got Kyler Murray, yeah,
So
and
they
they've
don't
got
need
wide receiver,
Rosen.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that this team's struggling with quarterbacks and Rosen sat there tanking.
You kind of feel like they've seen something in it and spent a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Why would they do that if they didn't want him as a future QB?
I don't know if the Dolphins knew that they were going to just tank that bad.
They're not going in that direction now, though, are they? It seems plain.
Wow. Why?
They
is that?
suck the most of all sucking
They
things.
do, but
It's just strange throwing him out there when Fitzpatrick was brought in just so he could take it.
I don't know
Fitzpatrick
what
takes the loss on the chin. Rosen comes into the
it
new
seems
Dolphins.
very chaotic there. I don't understand what's what. Maybe they're just getting Josh Rosen in just to try and trade him away further for another pick.
But who's the most important person in a football team?
The QB,
And who's the second most important person in a QB
the left
team?
tackle.
No, the backup QB. So if you've got him as a backup and you get your tour in or whatever it might be, you are not, you're not worried. It's a second round pick.
No,
it's
you are.
worth.
Josh Rosen isn't who you'd want as a mentor for a rookie after what he's seen in the 2 years that he's been in the NFL.
He's got like 1,000 yards.
Dude,
You don't mind.
It's more weary veteran, man. He's got 1,000 yards.
You were there, man.
Sacked more than any quarterback in the league already.
Yeah, that's it. It is.
He's played for more teams than anyone in his currently year group as well.
They do say that you have to play against the best to become the best with it, but maybe you can just play with the worst
Yeah.
That's just not going to work, is it? Poor Rosen.
Well, there are some good QBs that have come out that you should probably have picked up if you've got any of the quarterback problems that any of us have faced. Kyle Allen has bowled pretty hard.
Yeah, looking like a solid replacement. Is Cam going to get back in?
4 to 6 weeks he's out.
I think our surprise was that it wasn't Will Greer. Like, he seemed like the...
Yeah, because he
Give
was
him time to
undrafted.
develop. Yeah,
Is that
give
what
him
it
time
is?
to
No,
develop.
he was undrafted, Kyle Allen, last year. And he played a game
Yeah,
last
he's
year.
had
I
some
think.
games, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Will Greer, a bit too quick to throw him in.
Yes.
Give him a bit of time.
Yeah, sure. And he looked good last year, Kyle Allen.
Yeah, that's it. Not a bad player.
Didn't look as good as Dan Jones.
Yeah,
Pow,
super,
pow.
superstar pickup quarterback last week. Yeah, if you were brave enough to stream him, it rewarded you.
Yeah.
Do you think if either of them had a mustache, then we'd be even further hyped than we are over them?
Jeez.
Doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
No.
It
That-
ruined
that
Dan
was-
Jones' image,
There's
though.
4 TDs apiece for them too.
Yeah.
Dan Jones has to be Eli Manning's clone in every way, including appearance, and a mustache would just throw that off wildly.
True.
But yeah, he was very good, and I think owning him, even if you haven't got QB problems, is going to be a sweet move right now.
I don't know about that. It is still the Giants. Don't forget that.
They won with Barkley injured.
Against the Bucks, who kind of a bit of a soft opponent.
I'm just saying, there seems to be a wave of positivity
Suddenly
about.
surrounding the Giants.
I'm always a little bit positive with the Giants. I don't know why.
So it's like, oh, Saquon's gone down. Oh, the Giants are going to do well, aren't they?
I
don't know.
I was
Just
more
don't
excited about the Dan Jones pick than other people were. You know, most people said it was a reach. You know, the guy's not good enough to justify that level of pick, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I think he does justify it. He's just not got as much confidence in him as you might have had in other players who've got more film backup to show. Or, you know,
I remember
it's a better
talking with
college
Dan
resume.
about Dan Jones being a good fit for the Giants, particularly with Saquon. I don't think anyone saw him coming out and throwing those kind of touchdowns. So
No, that was big.
Yeah.
That was big. He was really, you know, throwing it around to make it fun,
fired
I
up
think.
like he doesn't on the sidelines as well. Apparently, when he went in with it, he was like a different player than the players had seen when he was a backup before he was really involved. Apparently, he's quite mild mannered, talks softly and whatnot.
Eli Manning.
But yeah, when he gets into the huddle with it, he's effing all over the place. You know, he's leading the team with an aggression that seems to have lifted him a bit.
Yeah.
You know, he told Sterling Shepard, "You're scoring a fucking touchdown," and he scored a touchdown on the throw. So, yeah, I think maybe they might be onto something.
You can stream him next week, but you would be brave to stick with him for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, against the
Yeah.
Skins, that's not too bad.
Oh,
is it?
Redskins, yeah.
He plays the Skins, then he plays the Vikings, then he plays the Patriots.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patriots one's a scary one
Vikings
for me,
one.
that is.
Wow.
Not so fussed on the Vikings.
Okay.
In college, he played with an incredibly bad offensive line. You know, so
he's used to it.
Precisely. They took it. They're like,
He did.
our line's terrible. We need a quarterback that can match
Yes,
this.
he did move around a lot as well. You know, grabbing them rushing touchdowns as well. He's not missing about.
No. But he definitely came in with an eye for a shorter passing game with it.
Yeah,
And that isn't what we saw last week. He was good at the short
can
passes,
definitely reach further.
but he can do a bit of everything. I mean, he's no Mahomes, but he's certainly...
But who is? Let's face it. It's where we are.
We need a Mahomes, Joe. Yeah. What about Bridgewater?
What about Bridgewater? I think that's what the Saints said when they're looking up for backups. They just went, "What about Bridgewater?" Yeah, all right, let's do that.
Work for him.
Yeah, and that is literally the way you should approach him in your fantasy. If it is that you're missing a quarterback for the week, you can just say, "What about Bridgewater?"
If
I'll
he
play him.
is ever able to emulate that start to his career that he did at the Vikings, then they've got a winner there,
Yeah.
because he was fantastic.
Yeah,
And nobody's seen anything of that since he tore his ACL.
well, he looked in that game like he was confident enough to step in. It
Yeah.
didn't look like he was too flustered taking over.
No, well, he's been in that position
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
hasn't
that's
he?
it.
Led
But he's
teams.
never stepped into Drew Brees' shoes
Well,
as the
no,
starter before.
no.
But he certainly looks like he could be streamable from times.
Oh, yeah, he's on the Saints. He's streamable.
Yeah,
Mason Rudolph.
yeah, Mason Rudolph.
Not a thing, right?
Nah.
Did get beat by him
My-
this week. Wasn't very happy about it. Yeah,
Holy.
yeah.
Well done, Lee.
Now, he played the Niners defense, which has been really weirdly good.
Yeah,
I think it's weird. I think it's a good defense. They've got
Okay.
Richard Sherman he had a bad year last
So
year.
would we
which
like
is what threw him
to?
off.
So are we going to temper this Mason Rudolph hate with a little bit of like rough first
A bit of
matchup?
respect to the 49ers, I think,
Yeah.
should be paid there. We've not really seen him. I don't think James Washington was playing, was he? And the two of them played in college together, so that might be a one to watch, and that could be a worthwhile pickup further down the line. James Washington.
Right now, though, it
Lee,
feels
Lee
a bit...
if you're listening.
I mean, yeah, they played together last week, and James Washington still only got 4. They threw to Deontay Johnson more, and also they ran out Benny Snell instead of Jalen Samuels. So I think they might be concentrating on their rookies.
Okay, that's interesting.
To
yeah,
see what
them
they've
their
got.
experience that they've
I
would be
think
wise too.
Steelers
Be
might
wise
be
to.
the Bengals that we were talking about. Yeah.
Steelers and the Bengals. Somewhere Lee's just
That's gonna
fell off
be-
his chair.
But they're misfiring across the field. You know, nothing's looking like it's working particularly well.
Yeah.
The
Their
defense
defense looks okay,
It looked
but
good, but
not good enough to win games.
no, it's not looked good the first 2 weeks. This last week,
Yeah.
when they picked up Minka Fitzpatrick,
But then
he seemed to have made a difference.
The Bengals did similar. They'd have nothing for a while, then the defense would do something. And I think coming into the season, the defense was probably the one thing from the Bengals that wasn't going to be an absolute letdown. Instead, their offense is looking decent. They played the brilliant Bills this week, which shut them down heavily.
Yeah.
But before that, they were a high-flying offense, which kind of used to be the Steelers thing, yeah?
Yeah, I believe they were a good offense.
We have heard in rumours and whispers around campfires that sometime in the distant past, the Steelers had players that played. Yeah, not so much anymore. But Mason Rudolph, we think, may or may not go well for the rest of the season.
You've got to really be reaching.
Desperate,
I've
yeah?
got to be a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably leave him alone then, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
So
Good
the
idea.
QB waiver situation is probably has more going on than the rest of the waiver wire for all the other positions.
Always does. It's that.
I mean,
and
It'll be
defense.
running backs. In a couple of weeks, there'll be a couple more injuries. I mean, there's one massive one that we've not talked about, and that's Barkley.
Yeah. He's given us the first rush to the waivers, really.
Yeah.
You know, everyone racing there.
Do you think it's going to be Goldman that replaces him?
They've got no other option. It's got to be.
Paul Perkins? Oh no,
No,
they
they've
got
let
rid
him
of
go.
him.
Yeah.
They're doing some
Well, they-
crawling for free agency.
They
aren't
will certainly be looking to pick people.
They've got a
CJ
fullback on
Anderson's
the roster.
one that jumps
He is an
straight
open
to
player,
my
yeah.
head.
JJ.
There are a couple. Heard Fozzie Whitaker's name mentioned
Wow.
with it. Zenner got cut from the Colts. There's talk that he could end up there. Yeah, there's a few of them floating around, but
Yeah.
nothing that sounds exciting. The other side of it is it might not match up with Ajayi because Ajayi's not fit for return apparently.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
he's not fit to walk into a team now, and the Giants
Could be
need
a
someone now.
practice
He
squad
was
addition,
cleared
yeah.
months ago to play.
He's apparently still at least a week away from him being match ready.
Okay.
So he's not
Can't find
fully
his
fit.
shoes.
Yeah, can't find his shoes. But even then, like I don't really think that he's a good option, even as a temporary stopgap. Not feeling it for him.
Well, we'll see what that turns into.
Yeah.
But
We do have the return of Golden Tate at the Giants.
That will be
Yeah.
another. He'll miss this week, and then he'll be back for week 5.
Yeah.
They've got the Vikings and then they've got the Patriots. So if you are picking up Giants players to stream, just remember it's probably for a week. And then you're going to have to sit them for 2. And then they can all come back in when they play the Cardinals the week
It's
after.
all over with that.
But
It's
one thing you will really have to consider, your playoff games are what? The Eagles, the Giants, the Dolphins and the Redskins.
Oh God!
Oh.
Go Giants heavy quick.
yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Stock, lock and load for the playoffs.
Elijah Penny is the fullback at the Giants. Now he really hasn't done much. He was at the Cardinals for a year.
They've
Saw a
only
little
just
bit of work.
re-signed him now, haven't they?
He's been with the
brought
team.
him to the
Been with the team for a couple of years, but he's not been used. But it's players like that sometimes sneak through.
If he's a fullback,
So
he
it's-
You
won't.
know, there's been a
Sometimes-
few fullbacks scoring recently.
Sherman
Score.
Sherman was viable for a few weeks when all the running backs broke at the Chiefs as well. So it's
Okay.
worth keeping an eye on. Don't pick him up on the waiver. Don't drop down that waiver priority for him. But keep an eye on him for the future on that one, because something's got to happen at the Giants. They've got to run the ball somehow.
Dev Singletary's out with some sort of hamstring thing.
Well, I'm hearing that he should be fit for Pat's game.
Oh, I think they should probably sit him for that one. It's not going to go too well.
I'll see.
I just want Frank Gore. I've got no other running backs. I need a running back this week. Frank Gore's the only one I can
wouldn't
pick up.
fancy playing him against the Patriots.
No.
I mean, it's necessity. There is almost nothing on the waivers for running backs. You're looking at Rojo's out there sometimes. You can pick him up in a couple of leagues.
Yeah, I think Rojo, you could probably afford to stash him for a little while.
It's just bit me so many times.
Yeah.
I've thought I need a running back for a week. I'll have a roll on Rojo.
See, he's not very good at pass blocking, and Arians wants a running back that does all of the jobs that a running back should do. So that's why I think Barber's still in the off in making that
as well.
Rojo scored pretty well during his last game out, and it might be that starts to become a trend, and he might start to see a bit more interaction with the front lines.
But you've got Mossert as well, who's lingering around on the waivers. But again,
Coleman coming back.
Coleman coming back, and again, even when he's actually got a run at it,
Jeff
sometimes
Wilson's who
he
you
doesn't
should
do
be
anything.
picking up because he scored 3 or 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games.
Yeah, that's it. But he's got
He's
a
on a
combined
bye.
total of about 40
he's on a bye.
Week 49 is bye week,
It is,
so have that in mind when you're picking up those players.
Be the worst stream you've ever made.
Or
again,
you're beating next week's.
he's just vulturing though, isn't he? He's not really. He's not showing any great plays, and whenever you
No,
try
but
to pick up a
that's
vulture,
what he's there for. He's the goal down back.
just be aware that you're picking up a vulture with it, and if you're playing against a team that's decent, they might not get that many opportunities.
Nope.
Also, Garoppolo looked like he was making a lot of mistakes during the last game, and from the guy that was like 5-0 before, for ending the season, and then getting injured out. It's like, where did you go to? It's just like your brain fell in a hole, and the offense is still working, the defense is clearly working, but Garoppolo made himself look bad last week, and I think he needs to get rid of that. You can't be that handsome and play that badly for that long.
Yeah.
It just ruins everything. Stops you looking handsome. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
There's a couple of wide receivers still floating around on the waivers.
If you haven't picked up Terry McLaurin by now, you should be being stabbed.
Yeah.
He's long gone, isn't he?
Yeah. He was still lingering though. Like he was picked up in a couple of leagues that I'm in just this last waiver.
Really?
Yeah. But he should definitely be picked up now. Dorsett with the Brown news.
Yeah, I think Phil Dorsett really, he's a producer, but he's at the Patriots. And that's the issue with picking him up. Like, the only reason why he's still on the Ravens right now is because he plays for the Patriots, and next week he might not see the field.
Well, last year...
No, he will next week.
The Patriots ran 3 wide receiver sets less than 50% of the time. So far this year, it's 2/3 of the time they're running 3 wide receivers.
They might not have 3 wide receivers to do it this week.
Oh,
Edelman might not be fit for it.
No, he's fit.
Obviously, Brown's gone with it.
Yeah. They've got Myers, though, haven't they? Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, but Harris is still out with it. So they've got 2 recognisable names at wide receiver.
They'll find someone else that hasn't played for 3 years.
Well, what it means
pays $1
is...
million too.
It could be
I think they signed somebody.
Yeah, but it does mean that Dorsett's probably the wide receiver, the lead wide receiver there this week.
No, Josh Gordon.
I don't know, Josh Gordon's not been used like that.
Well, we think he will likely see some play time. Maybe at the moment he's looking at a 13-point game as his average, Dorsett is.
Yeah.
Which is a good number. And you could do worse than have him playing for your team at this point. Yeah. So, an interesting ad. DJ Chark.
Yep.
Still good.
Yeah.
Every week is Chark week.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know if that's a Minshew thing or just Chark's really just got onto everyone's radar.
Or is it a D.D. Westbrook thing?
Yeah.
The other receivers not being as exciting.
Well, it's Keenan Cole's just a non-entity there now. DD's not as used as you'd want.
There was a weird thing that the Jags started doing where they said they wanted to use their receivers as blockers as much as some of their other positions. And I don't understand exactly how that was going to pan out, but Marquise Lee, who isn't currently playing, was one of their guys for blocking. Like, he got terrible stats as a receiver.
He was on the field all the time.
That's right, but because the team appreciated the role that he played, where he was willing to sort of take one for the team kind of thing. And it might be that some of the other receivers are being asked to do jobs more like that. But whatever it is, certainly Chark's standing out above the others as the receiving target. And he's producing week in, week out. And, you know, it might only be for 3 weeks. Let's see if it's for a fourth. Might as well roll the dice on the guy. Currently, his floor is about 15 points.
Yeah, oh, he's definitely worth a pick.
So yeah, the Jags offense, go Jags!
You might start to see him getting better coverage. Who do they play next? Because I think they use a shadow corner who would go to Shark, which seems mad.
It does seem a bit mad.
Like, ooh,
Yeah.
best shadow Shark, but you know he is clearly their number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
The Broncos, yeah. So
Chris Harris, that'll be
yeah, and he can
very
shut
good.
people
Now,
down.
Yeah.
I have to say, the Broncos have been very porous on defence, and
Nobody scored a lot past them.
they've not defended well, and their run blocking has been awful.
They've not been convincing as a defensive.
No, they're
entity.
certainly not the defence that people were expecting them to be.
It'll take
but
a year with it. The Bears weren't great when Fangio first went. It took him a little while with it. It's a change of system. It's a big change of system. They've got the players for it, but it's probably going to be next year.
So
Unless something changes
I don't think this is a
mid-season.
bad matchup to
feasible.
play Jark into,
I don't.
based on what we've seen out of the
No,
I'd
Broncos
run him
so
out.
far.
What about a
Running
Conley
out.
pickup if you're completely and utterly out of luck with it? Because he looks like the wide receiver too there.
Well, it depends on which stock you've got in the Tash man at the front of the game. I mean, I go for it, man. Take all the Jags players all day, every day. Drop everything that isn't the Jags player and play them. Bosh.
If that was the Chiefs you were saying that with.
I know it makes sense. They
that
wouldn't.
makes sense.
It wouldn't just be ludicrous. Even I aren't fool enough to back the Jags that heavily, but Chark is a legitimate fantasy player at this point, and we can roll with that.
Survivor.
So we're just moving on to our little Survivor section where I have done very badly. I've got a 100% miss rate so far, which I have to say I'm terribly, terribly happy about because the Jags won last week in proper epic style. They proper fucked up the Titans. It was amazing. I've never been as happy to be wrong. In fact, I've never been happy to be wrong, but this time I am. Very happy indeed. First win of the season. I'll take it.
So our third week of this, bear in mind, is going into week 4. As it stands, Ben and I are 2-0. Wig is 1-1, and Cal bringing up the rear with
Looking to
0-2.
continue with the perfect
The
season.
Dolphins of the. So for week 4 or our week 3, which is a bit confusing,
Yeah.
but I'm going to lead the charge with the Packers
Can I go with
Thursday
the
night.
Packers?
Thursday night.
against the Eagles.
It's the turnaround.
Is it though?
Well, the Packers are 3-0.
No, I mean with
Oh,
scoring.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams is going to have a blowout game.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
the
please.
the first team listed up with it. The Thursday night
Thursday
game,
night
just going to
game.
get it out the way nice and early. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Done. I can
Anyone
rest
thinking
them.
Giants over the Redskins?
Yes.
You think Giants going to win?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially if Case Keenum's injured.
If Case Keenum's injured and Haskins is out there, it's going to look very bad for the Redskins, and my McLaurin play is going to probably get hurt, which is upsetting me now. So I might have to rethink that one. But yeah, I think the Giants are going to win.
I still think McLaurin
But you're not
will
picking him.
be
No.
alright.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Cal, Giants, Redskins. Who's your pick? Who would win? Who will win?
No, that's like Clash of the Trash.
Yeah, Clash of the Trash. Put your name to one.
No.
You're having nothing to do with either of them.
No.
Well done, Cal. Lions, Chiefs.
Like arguing on the internet.
Chiefs. We all think they're going to win. None of us are going to pick it. Let's move on.
It'd be hilarious if they didn't.
No, the Lions have been all right.
They have.
And
And
if it wasn't for the convincing win over the Ravens last week, I think that the Chiefs, this one might have been a bit more worrisome. But beating probably the second best team in the league, it's looking good for the Chiefs.
what, the Patriots?
Yeah.
Second best. You don't think that the Patriots are the second best?
I'm just bigging up the Chiefs down.
Still an
No,
Eagles
I'm
family.
assuming you mean they're the best. And
The Chiefs are the
Patriots
best.
Patriots second.
The Ravens are currently the second best, right?
Okay.
Yep. And that makes the Chiefs look better.
I see.
Yeah. But the Chiefs are going to win this week. Lions looking all right. Sorry, man.
Are you still an Eagles fan? That's all I'm
Still
saying.
an Eagles
Still
fan.
an Eagles fan. That's okay. That's all
But
right.
as I've clarified with it,
a swear jar next week.
the Eagles thing was foisted upon me with it. It's
Oh, I see. You were forced into
It
being an
was-
Eagles
yeah.
fan.
Oh,
was
You
something
are.
that
Damn them
pushed him
winning the
out.
frigging Super Bowl.
Well, I'm pretty
I bet you
sure
were
that I was told I
more.
wasn't allowed to have no team.
That's true.
Yes, you were forced
So
to support
by
the
default,
team.
Eagles, and I still keep a close eye on them. I subscribe to their little bits with it.
I phone them at the weekend. You know.
I've got
There's
Ertsy
an
Baby on
sentiment.
speed dial, but
Spend
got-
all my days stalking the Chiefs.
well, yeah, a little bit too much time watching Mahomes. Falcons Titans, that's a tough one.
Titans.
Titans,
Falcons.
Yeah.
Falcons. Oh, so everyone
Titans
thought it
with
wasn't
a
a tough
very
one, but
good
you're all
defense.
divided.
Falcons with no defense.
Oh, I know. They can't half throw that ball. And
Yeah, but the Titans have got a really good secondary.
didn't they just lose to the Jags?
Jags,
It's a very weak argument you're putting up there, Dan.
Wait a
The
minute.
Jags have
That's
a
a sly dig at me. Get off my Jags. We did good.
No, I would go for an upset with that one and go Titans.
Titans, but you think it's an upset?
No, I mean, because everyone else seems to think it would be a straight.
Oh no, I
Falcons.
think it's an awkward one. Yeah,
It's a tough one. It is a tough one. There's a lot of tough ones though this week.
I think I'd go Falcons though with it. So
Sure.
you probably are on your own. Ravens Browns, that's not a tough one.
Ravens.
Ravens.
Sadly.
Yeah. Are you
Sadly.
gonna go against
Who
your
knows,
boys?
though?
Ravens.
I
Well-
don't really want to weigh in on a controversial topic here. The Browns, can probably put up some decent points, and I think this will be a game that they've probably put a bit more, coaching time into.
I
Think
bet
tanking.
Lamar Jackson in favour of Aaron Rodgers this week.
I think that's wise. I think the strongest element of the Browns is the defense.
Yeah.
If they could stop giving away stupid penalties, that would be nice. But their weak point is potentially the Raiders' strong point, and they're going to pressure poor old Baker. He's going to have to get on his bike and do some dodging. But so anything could happen. It's a divisional matchup.
Yeah.
Who knows? But looking at it, the
Ravens.
again.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Colts Raiders.
Colts.
I'm going with the
Full house,
Colts.
I think that one.
Yeah, that's a 4-0.
Yeah, we all agree there.
Yeah.
We shouldn't
Ni-
pick that as one.
Nice easy one for me as well. You just
Oh, is that your bet?
That's mine. Yeah, I'm going
Right.
to say.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, let's,
locking it
let's
up.
shout ourselves up
Locking-
for that.
locking it in,
Wiggs
the
going in
Colts.
with the Colts. Ben, who have you gone for?
Oh, you should.
Oh, it's
say.
coming up, is
Bills
it?
Patriots. Now this one's an interesting one.
Oh,
I'm going to let everybody else go first
the big one. The big
before
one.
before I weigh in.
Okay, so because I'm 0-2 at this point, and in theory I just want to get the easy win, I should back the Patriots here, shouldn't I? Because the
Yeah.
Patriots kind of always win, right?
Patriots are playing the best football in the league, bar maybe the Chiefs.
But if I go 0-3 at this point, I think everyone's very happy. Because
yeah,
not only
we
would
are.
the Patriots have lost, I will have lost. Dan's Bills will still be all wins. So really, the only thing I can do in a good conscience at this point, for the benefit of everybody else, is to back the Patriots.
It's not the fact that you just wrote
If
Bills.
the worrying thing for the Bills is they haven't got their running back.
He's going for the Patriots.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
And I think that defense that Bill's running out there, old Bill Belichick is just horrific. That defense is shutting folk down. So it is going to be like the grindiest game you will ever going to see. It's two excellent
It's a
defenses.
matter of who's got the biggest D.
Yeah, it's all about the D.
Yeah.
I
sexy.
honestly think
Bills on Bills.
I've never been.
D out.
Oh. Since Sean McDermott has been at the Bills, Tom Brady has thrown 3 TDs since 2017.
Against
He's
the Bills, yeah.
Against the Bills.
Just not
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. However, he's thrown 4 interceptions. and I think it's going to go along that route, and I think it's going to be down to Josh Allen's play.
Yep. So you're going with the Bills.
I reckon the Bills.
I'm with you. I think the Bills win.
Yeah.
I think the
I think if they get Josh Allen running, then it's a problem for the
I just think Bill's going to let. I think Bill's going to let the Bills win.
Let them win.
Let them win. Yeah, I think he'll have a look at them and he'll let them win.
Some master
It's
plan.
something I've seen other people echo as well. It's something that the Patriots have got a history of doing. The team that is looking the best, that's going to play them in the championship playoffs, they lose to. They lose with a generic, boring game.
But the Bills are in the same division as the Patriots. So they're forfeiting.
Potentially,
the
yeah.
division.
But they don't want to win divisions. They want to win a Super Bowl. That's all they're interested in.
So they play the extra game in the wild card.
They never want to do that. They always want the bye week.
They don't want the home field advantage by winning
It'd
the
be nice,
conference.
but I think that
Oh,
the
no,
Bills. I think that the Bills are going to get it this week.
I think the Bills will win it out of talent, scheming, sheer.
Texan
I think we
Panthers.
deserve it, guys.
Let's get you off the Bills.
So at this
Texans
point,
Panthers.
Ben, if it's just you left to pick, which of the matchups was the most tantalising and tasty for you?
Well, you know, I'm very brave when it comes to these things, so I thought I'd push my luck and pick the
Well,
Rams.
Let's just remind ourselves as to how brave you are. You went for the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Was that against the Dolphins?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, sorry.
We weren't allowed to stream against the Dolphins.
We are playing with the rule, no playing against the Dolphins.
It's not fair. But yeah, so I took the Cowboys. Who did the Cowboys have?
Was that the Washington game?
I believe it was.
Week
Yes.
2.
Yeah, week 2.
Okay, we should perhaps expand the who we can't stream against.
To the Steelers, yeah?
So I took the Cowboys against the Redskins.
Yep.
That's fine. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's fine. You took the
And then you
Vikings against the Raiders.
I took the Vikings against the Raiders. Another tough matchup.
And this week you've gone for the toughest.
Wow. You know, the Bucks could really push the Rams at home.
We're pushing through for Ben's. There's one we don't play with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
We don't let it. But the Chargers aren't looking great either. I know Cal's tried to defend them and say lovely things about them and how close they were, but
They have been close in every game.
they have, but they've lost, haven't they? Every single game.
And they're
No,
playing the
they're 1
Dolphins
and
this
2. Are
week.
they not 1 and
They're
2?
1 and 2.
The Chargers.
I don't pay enough attention to them with it because they're just going to lose their division to the Chiefs. There's no point paying any attention.
Spoken like a true Eagles fan.
Oh, they'd be proud of you in Philly, wouldn't they?
I would get run out of Philly.
Those guys are mental.
That's it. No. But Chargers Dolphins, that could be the closest game for the Dolphins this year so far.
Get out. Get out.
No way.
No.
No way.
You've got to go with the Chargers with it because it's the Dolphins this year. But that's going to be the closest game that they've come across this year.
No chance.
Keenan Allen's going to destroy him.
Yeah, the offense.
Mike
for the
Williams, I
Chargers
think,
is-
gets involved as well. to be honest.
Well, this might not happen. They're going to go far enough ahead that they're going to rest some of their starters.
Could well be.
Maybe.
I mean,
I watched the Miami Cowboys game.
And it didn't.
There was times when they were playing fine. You know, they were moving the ball.
Did they get 2 sacks as well?
How
I think so.
Oh, they got an interception.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
how did Zeke do in that game?
15.
Yeah, 15 points. Didn't get a touchdown. He got over 100 yards.
Yeah. How many times did they give the ball to Pollard because they knew they didn't need to use Zeke against the
He
Dolphins?
had
Quite
12
a
carries.
lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
12 carries.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that the Cowboys went all in with
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
they've
yeah.
They
got.
threw the ball easily to Amari Cooper a few times and cakewalked the rest of that game.
I think he did get a TD, didn't he?
Who? Zeke? No, he didn't. No, he definitely didn't.
And for your pick, Benny, you're totally writing the books off this week.
They could have a good game. They're just not going to win.
which is kind of the thing that the Bucks do historically, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can have
yeah.
a good game that they don't win.
Great game
Yeah, they
this
did a
week.
lot of that last year, didn't they?
And James Winston can throw amazing passes, but
But he
then
plays the most stupidest of balls.
or just seems to
Interceptions.
panic. It like just has a fit, and then just the ball could go anywhere. He very much needs to calm down. He played better last week than he did before.
I feel there's a lot of pressure on James Winston at the moment to perform.
Yes.
And it's going to be difficult
yeah.
for him to calm down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's kind of playing for his job at this point, right?
Yeah.
And when you've got Aaron Donald running at you, I don't think you can be calm.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
No. He just gets better, doesn't he?
He is.
Like every time I watch the Rams this year, it seems like it's the Aaron Donald show.
Yeah.
Like that's all that happened. Aaron Donald. There's the Bears versus Vikings. Thoughts on that?
The toughest.
I don't think so. I'm just investing in the Bears defense and the fact that the Vikings haven't had much of an offense.
I think the Vikings win that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Vikings
I think
haven't had
the
much of an
Vikings-
offense. That's controversial. I don't know. I think that's going to be a very tight game. To my mind, it's the kind of game that could go to overtime. And probably with a low score overall as well.
Battle of the bad quarterbacks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna
Let's
perform
not
the
say
worst?
bad. Let's not say bad. Bad isn't necessarily fair.
So from
They're just going to underperform, aren't they? But I think it's going to be a game of the largest number of turnovers for the team. Like whose defense can force the misplay. I think Kirk Cousins won't want to move the ball very much himself. Won't want to risk it. So it's going to be looking to make fumbles on the running backs. And I think that this Chicago situation on offense is so fluctuating.
based on last week, Chicago's defense could just go out and win the game. They
Could
could just take the ball off Kirk. They could either run him over and take it off him.
if they
pick
can get
it
the
off
strip
him.
sacks.
They'll run it back.
I don't think they'll throw heavily. That's the thing. I don't think they'll risk the turnovers.
They've got to stop Cook, and they're very good
Yeah,
at stopping
They're very
running
good
back.
at stopping.
Yeah.
So no, I think that the Bears defense wins that. We've got Broncos Jags, so going from bad offenses to just bad teams.
Well,
It's got to be the Jags because the Broncos are just that bad this season. I don't know.
Awful, aren't they?
That one I'm just not invested in. That's got to suck for you.
I think we beat these Broncos, but I think if we play them towards the end of the season, it's probably a different story.
I think the Broncos win that.
I think they're Jag.
Cold.
Yeah, I think the Broncos. No, I think the Jags. I don't care. Is that an answer? Like, I've got no interest in either of them teams at the
They're
moment.
not winning, so you don't care.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Sets the theme, listeners.
Not
Sets the theme. Gold digger.
The fantasy relevance is where it comes from for me. And fantasy relevance-wise, other than a fluke by Philip Lindsay, Emmanuel Sanders is the only thing from them two teams that I really want on my teams.
Well, I think we're Glax's imagination, but whatever.
Saints, Cowboys.
Cowboys for me.
It's because of the lack of breeze, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lack of breeze makes it a bit sad for the Saints.
And I think the Cowboys are a good team this year, and they're just not showing how good they are yet.
What a game that would have been, though.
Yeah, that would have been a
Oh,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
good one to watch.
For sure.
Breeze was fit. I still think it's going to be a good game because the Saints have got a good defense.
Yeah,
And no
yeah.
matter how much time Dak's got in the pocket, he still throws interceptions. It's
Yeah. What was it, like 72 minutes he had in the pocket?
I do think, and they've still got Kamara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think it could be good.
No, I think the Cowboys will.
Yeah, I'm for the Cowboys, but I think it'll be a good game.
Now, just to throw a spanner in the works, the Broncos and Jags, that was boring because the teams are bad with it. Two bad teams, well, one bad team historically, one bad team this season, the Steelers-Bengals, that's shaping up to be a real interesting one.
It should be a close one. I think the Bengals do it.
Think the Bengals do it?
Yeah.
The Steelers have got to show us something at some point, but the Bengals are looking the better offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals do feel favourable in that
I think
one,
we
don't they?
might have a unanimous 4-0 Bengals victory over the Steelers, which is just music to my ears.
I mean,
Love it.
it'd be much, much better for me should Connor go out and destroy them. So if that could happen, go with that.
I mean, that could go to a reasonably high-scoring game, though.
What,
Yeah,
with the
I think it
Steelers?
could, yeah.
Yeah. I think both teams could just let things through. So that's, I mean, for fantasy purposes, maybe you do want to back into something
I think
like
it's
that.
probably
And
a 24-27 kind
Yeah.
of victory for the Bengals.
I could see it in the mid-30s with it, where it's just a bit of a mess with it. I think that the Bengals might get ahead a little
Do you
bit.
feel like it's just as easy that it could be like a 10-3 game, though?
No, I don't see that.
No.
No?
I see that
The
with the
Bengals have
Jags
got
game,
two-
and that's why the Jags game feels boring to me, because
Yeah.
I don't see anything coming from anywhere.
That's fair.
But the Bengals-Steelers, That looks
There are
interesting.
weapons there on both sides. It's whether they.
Well, it's a misfiring Steelers and an overachieving Bengals.
Yeah.
And that's
Or
interesting.
is it an overachieving? Is it not just this sack?
Well,
Zach
after
Taylor
this,
that-
we'll maybe have a better idea with it.
I don't know, 3 games have been.
Still early, Dave.
Well, that about wraps things up for another episode. We may or may not have more underperformers and overperformers to target for the following weeks. The Survivor section, I think, intend to be bad at. I don't know how long it's going to stay that way. We'll see what the next week brings, and we'll hopefully see you in front of the show.